Welcome back to an episode. We are in the Normandy again. It's time for us to get some of the, well, not Reaper thingies back, but the other thing. We are going back to the Citadel and finish that Leviathan mission. Slowly but surely, and in there we go. Okay, we good for now. So, that one is 100%, that one is 100%, that is at 100%, that is at 100%, that is at 100%. This one doesn't have a percent. Okay, just have to make sure. Oh yeah, and then there's also this thing. Good. That's weird. There was a jump point right there. So, meet with... No, we're not meeting with anyone right now. Okay, everything that's blinking, I think. Yeah. Is the location of missions. Interesting. So, let's go back to the Citadel and get to Bryson's lab. How that Leviathan. Yes, what it's doing, and whoa, look at the speed. I never noticed the thing actually turning around. I mean, it doesn't make sense, right? Like, now it's not turning around anymore. Anyway. Interesting. Huh. Would that shape actually be more stable than a bigger ring? That's a really interesting question. Yeah. If it's spinning that way, is that more stable? Than if it would just be a very large ring. Okay, that's weird. Okay, wait, where do we want to go? Let's just go directly to Dr. Bryson's lab. Directly. Isn't Edie supposed to be with me? There.
We need to shield the artifact they've got here right away.
Using Garneau's data, I should be able to accomplish this without difficulty.
Damn thing's been here the whole time. Why weren't we affected?
Perhaps the amount of time spent near the artifact is key. After a certain duration, it affords Leviathan an impressive mind control capability.
So like indoctrination. So is it an ally or an enemy?
I'd call it dangerous as hell. Bryson's assistant tried to kill me.
Perhaps Leviathan was controlling him to protect itself, diverting people away from its trail.
Maybe. It just shows we don't know what we're dealing with yet.
Despite the risk, this artifact remains our only link to finding Leviathan. Perhaps we could find more information about it here in the lab.
Agreed. Bryson's team might have turned up something we missed. I'll look around.
Okay, search the labs for glues with a G again. So...
Bryson's assistant, Hadley. Do we have an update on his status?
He is in a vegetative state. The doctors believe it is permanent.
But the miners recovered when the artifact was destroyed.
Hadley lost consciousness when he attempted to answer our questions about Leviathan. It may have been a deliberate attempt to silence him permanently.
Alright, oh, these things. Okay, data files. Energy emissions tests. Artifact P3X118, Hadley, Derek. Initial tests. Artifact tests negative for infrared and ultraviolet emissions. No gamma or X-ray radiation detected. Follow-up tests. Artifact does not react to application of various stimuli. Internal readings inconclusive. No progress in determining age. Guess I stayed here all night finding out that this thing isn't really important. Fell asleep at the desk. Conclusion: artifact is definitely inert and safe. Recommend keeping it here for reference. We should all be near it. Maybe be more useful than Leviathan in long run. Recommend we abandon hunt for Leviathan and seek more productive studies. Oh, and this is where they were already getting affected.
They were testing the artifact for energy emissions.
And found nothing. Still, I recommend leaving it shielded.
Yeah. The conclusion is the thing that, well, actually, like the change that happened in the text, the attitude towards the thing, some kind of drive to just let it be here or whatever, and to not seek out the Leviathan, because this is what the Leviathan actually wants. It doesn't want to be looked for. Okay, we can still use it, but nothing out.
Anything interesting about the artifact structure?
It is not constructed of the same compounds used in standard Reaper technology. Beyond that, nothing of relevance.
Okay. How do they, like... Aren't those husks connected to Reapers somehow? Isn't that a bad thing if you have something like that directly in your lab? Okay, so what else we got? I mean, we could again look on the outside. Yeah. Let's get out here real quick. Look at the outside. Maybe we can find something. And then we're gonna go back into the lab. There's probably nothing important here, is it? Yeah, we got all of the items the first time around. Maybe something in the trees, but there's nothing there. Right. Let's see. We already interacted with everything up here. Then, oh.
EDI, what project was Garneau working on when he found the artifact?
Basilisk.
Got anything on Basilisk?
Several ships, a mythical creature, and a rare mid-tier enemy type in the Galaxy of Fantasy video game. It possesses a gaze attack capable of triggering synced animation kills. Player forums describe it as overpowered.
I meant the project, EDI.
Oh. Then, no.
There's gotta be something here on this artifact. What about the server?
Okay.
Bryson's assistant wiped the office server and destroyed all backups, likely before killing Bryson. However, records show new messages on Bryson's personal comm terminal upstairs.
Could be worth a look.
So, the interesting thing about the whole thing is that basilisks, they control them with their gaze, right? And they can basically petrify them. Like a Medusa or whatever. Does it have I mean, it does have a similar effect than the Leviathan's mind control, right? It also keeps them petrified or like motionless. It stops them from doing whatever they wanted to do with the Leviathan. So, where is the thing over there?
A message from Dr. Bryson's daughter, Anne. According to my records, she worked with her father.
I'm at the dig site in the Pylos Nebula. Project Scarab paid off. I've got another artifact like the one Garneau found. I think it could be affecting people's behavior. You need to shield the one in your office. I tried to warn Garneau, but I can't get through. We've got Reaper scouts coming in toward the main site. I'm heading to the secondary base to grab what research I can.
Anne Bryson was attempting to contact Garneau on the asteroid colony. She seems to know something about the artifact.
Yeah, and if the Reapers are involved, she's in trouble.
She sounded worried.
If Reaper forces were approaching, her concern was warranted.
Let's hope we get to her before they do.
She said she was in the Pylos Nebula, working for Project Scarab. That cluster contains several systems. I'll call up the nebula on the galaxy map. We may also search the lab for clues to narrow down her location.
Okay, same procedure as before. Figure out where she is. Find Anne Bryson. She couldn't just give me the location overall, right?
The Reapers. Let's hope we find Anne before they do.
Nothing oi.
Can you identify this, EDI?
It originates with a pre-spaceflight culture, but there are none recorded in the Pylos Nebula.
Pre-space flight culture. It's not. Either this is a Reaper, Or this is upside down and supposed to be something else, but yeah. And there's also a toilet. Oh, okay. Interesting. So, really? Nothing you can interact with down here, that's weird. Never noticed that there was an additional room around. What about this one?
Does anything in Anne Bryson's work history suggest where she might be?
Nothing relevant.
Too bad.
Any idea if Project Scarab involved Element Zero?
Unlikely. We may learn more from the Project Requisitions Locker.
Any correlation between Project Scarab and these unexplained creature sightings?
Not beyond Leviathan itself.
Task Force Aurora. Current travel requisitions. Project Basilisk. Team Leader Garner Alex. Transport MSV Kirkwall. Project Scarab. Team Leader Bryson Ann. Transport MSV Icarus. Oh.
Anne Bryson flew out on a ship called the Icarus. Can you track its movements?
No. The Reapers have disrupted civilian comm buoys. But we might learn more if we find the ship's specifications.
Yeah, it's Icarus. That means they're flying too close to the sun. That's not good.
There are specifications for several ships here. We need to find the Icarus.
Yeah. So, Nikunis ship schematics? That's not it.
Which ship am I looking for again?
The Icarus.
There we got it. Are there...
We are looking for the Icarus.
I know. I just want to look at all of the other ones. Okay, so there are 3.
The Icarus. Here we go.
The ship has enhanced electrostatic discharge cells. They facilitate long-range FTL travel.
So they jumped to the Pylos Nebula by mass relay, then flew to another system.
Yes. Otherwise, they would have chartered a less expensive ship.
Okay, we can rule out the relay system.
Good. So... that's that. Wait a minute. Can we interact with that thing again? No. Last time I had to press like a green-ish button to... No. Okay. Make this thing light up a little bit, but not this time. Righty. Oh! The requisitions locker. That could be the
The
one.
locker is secure. We must locate an access card to open it.
Aw, really? A card again?
What about criminal activity in the Pylos Nebula?
Because the area is part of the Attican Traverse, criminal reports are unreliable at best.
So, what else we got? Why is it that this head is just there for you to be scared by?
Access card for the requisitions locker?
Yes.
Perfect.
According to records, it was last used by Anne Bryson to obtain equipment for Project Scarab.
Interesting names, though. Scarab. Icarus. None of them actually related.
We found Prothean data earlier. Are there any ruins in the Pylos Nebula?
Nothing Prothean.
Yeah, they're looking for Leviathan stuff. Ship schematics. I mean, we have like 3 of those. Anyway, let's just open that thing.
Let's see what Anne Bryson requisitioned for Project Scarab.
Okay, we got ourselves a suit.
Didn't need an environmental suit.
And we got an assault rifle Omni Blade. Ooh. Oh, nice. An upgrade. But we don't need it. Missing equipment. Then we got equipment.
Didn't take breathing masks.
What's this one? Missing equipment and missing equipment.
Water recycling equipment.
Based on what Anne Bryson did or did not requisition, the dig site was arid but habitable.
Get me a filter for systems with compatible planets.
Alright, arid. Project Scarab. So it's a desert planet. Okay. We got ourselves ship stuff.
Based on
2
the
out of
search
3.
data, it is one of these 2 systems.
Alright, and an arid one.
Based on the data, only one system remains a viable possibility.
Good. Let's go get Anne Bryson.
Alright. Wonderful. So, let's get out of here. Is there anything... let's let it be shielded. Oh boy. If you turn up the volume and you just interact with that, you're just gonna get scared nonetheless. So, let's get back onto the Normandy. I mean, we do have some other side missions that we could possibly finish, but let's just focus mainly on the Leviathan, and then we can finish up on completing Purgatory, like all of those other things. So, return to Normandy. A good question would also be, who am I going to take on with me for the search? That's a good question. Yeah, how am I gonna do that? How am I gonna do that? How am I gonna do that? So, let's see. Supposedly constructed by the long existing... Supposedly, yeah. The answer is no. Meet diplomat. There. Pylos Nebula, scan the dig site. That is... wait a minute. That's the only one. Alright. So, let's go there, scan a little bit, and I would say in the next episode we're gonna land on the thingy. Yeah, there's an awful lot of areas here. So there's Jonas. Jonas, a methane ammonia ice giant, is believed to be an extrasolar planet captured by its star. It was developed as a fuel depot serving the Pylos cluster. Eldfell Ashland Energy had established a base on one of its moons to crack water ice into hydrogen and oxygen and skim helium free from its atmosphere. The Reapers destroyed both the base and the abandoned infrastructure, but not before triggering a trap, a crude nuclear device meant to catch them in its blast. From orbit, the Normandy's sensors can pick out a sign that some waggish employee has left on the wreckage of the moon base. Gone fishing. That's a good one. So, in Isale, or Isale. Isale is a standard hydrogen helium gas giant. Though gas giants are known for their powerful magnetic fields, Isale's field is stronger than current models predict. Within the frost line of its solar system, while gas giants do not usually form, Isale is believed to have once been extrasolar. With no infrastructure to speak of, the Reapers have ignored Isale as a military target. Right.
Signal confirmed.
Oh, that's a wee bit much. Let's see. And there it is. Does that already count? Yeah, Jovian Dissertation. Interesting thing. So we got 50%. I mean, there could also be some... Okay. This is fuel. How much fuel I got? I got 1,000, so I'm actually pretty good. I don't know when I actually got that fuel. Anyway, it's on the east side of it, so we're not going to trigger anything. We're just going from one system to the next real quick. Oi, that's a lot of planets. Starting with this one, Vioresa. With an orbital period nearly 2 millennia long, the cold and distant Vioresa was actually missed in the initial Asari survey of the system. Only a follow-up mineral assay sent to Canalos by a Volus mining concern noticed its subtle movement across the stars. Vioresa is a methane ammonia ice giant, circled by a retinue of deep frozen moons. Its remoteness made it a popular drive discharge point for pirates working the Pylos Nebula cluster. As Pylos is currently unclaimed by any sovereign power, Council naval patrols are few and far between. Thus, for far, none of the local pirates have been apprehended, and the Reapers have shown little interest in the system. It is possible Vioresa could be used as a base of operations for fleeing ships. That's an awful lot of planets around here. Sineus. A standard hydrogen helium gas giant, Sineus has more than 80 moons. A lot to scan. The next one, Zeth. Wait, that's already like Egyptian sounding. Interesting. Zeph is a common hydrogen-helium gas giant. An abundance of sulfur in the upper atmosphere gives it distinct yellow stripes. Canalus. Canalus is smaller than Earth, but has unusually high density. The high level of tectonic activity indicates that the density is caused by an abundance of radioactive materials in the core. These, combined with the planet's unusually high rate of spin, raise the planet's internal temperature and cause volcanism. While several companies performed mineral assays in the late 2170s, the world's geological instability precluded development. Cyano. Like the bacteria. Cyano, named for an ancient Asari philosopher, known for being a contrarian, orbits Dirada at a retrograde. It is believed to be an object that fell into the system millions of years ago from parts unknown. The outermost of Dirada's 2 asteroid belts is thought to have been a small planetoid that was broken up by Cyano's passage into the system. Cyano is formed of low-density rock and tidally locked to the Dirada. The same hemisphere always faces the star. There is evidence that a complex artificial structure once existed in the north of the sunward-facing hemisphere, but they have been badly degraded by millennia of heat and radiation. Several bunkers of radioactive waste, apparently byproducts of primitive fission plants, have been discovered on the far side. The Reapers appear to have ignored Cyano, concentrating on systems with a higher population. And then we have an interesting ring around the sun here. Okay, and Thanusi. Thanusi is a small barren rock, though there's evidence that it once had an atmosphere of carbon dioxide. Only trace amounts of krypton and xenon remain. Like Cyano, it is tightly locked to Dirada. Okay, I'm going to scan here. There's nothing. And there's nothing there. It's not good.
I found something.
Oh, nice. That's perfect. What do we have on this one? Any moment now. And there it is. Radiation shielding sheath. Okay. Some bonuses. That's perfect. Yeah, the other 50% we're gonna get if we go back one step at a time. Let's do that this way. Yeah, that's actually quite good. So, what do we have here? Awful lot of stuff. Where do I need to land though? That's Namakli, Estark, Grotesque. Is that the... Nah. A methane-soaked gas giant, Grotesque featured helium-3 collection machinery serving the colonists of Namakli, but it appears that kinetic barriers failed long ago due to neglect. The apparatus was destroyed by meteorites, probably originating in Grotesque's rings, creating one more hurdle for anyone trying to settle on Namakli. So we are looking for desert planets. Could only be the other ones. Let's look at Azrahas. Azrahas is a hothouse planet rich in nitrogen, methane, and ethane. Similar to Namakli, it is metal poor. Additionally, it is suspected that the few asteroid impacts have struck it over the millennia, precluding accessible deposits of common precious metals in the crust. And decrepit Asari orbital stations from scientific expeditions long ago circle the planet. None display signs of occupation. Estark, like Paul Estark. The one is the behind the sky. Estark was discovered by a joint Asari Vorcha exploration team and abandoned shortly thereafter. The planet's light atmosphere of nitrogen and krypton is not overtly hostile to Vorcha, but its heat makes it uninhabitable, except in expansive habitats. Its low density precludes the presence of many valuable minerals, and so settling the planet was deemed not worth the effort. What about this one, Namakli? An arid, that's the one. but habitable planet. Namakli was briefly colonized by the Pirina Corporation, a consortium of Asari colonists and socialized Vorcha laborers. After an economic downturn, however, many Asari left the planet, and the Vorcha population kept growing to the point where they bred faster than could be educated. Soon they turned violent and uncontrollable, and the colonies essentially self-destructed. Today, Namakli is a wasteland with little population, but Vorcha packs are scattered across the deserts. Settlers frequently run into these packs, discouraging recolonization. The lack of complex biota and scarcity of profitable metals drove the last few proverbial nails into Namakli's coffin. No one has stepped forth in the past few years with the will, the funding, or the firepower to establish a permanent colony. So, with an awful lot of Vorcha over here, maybe the Leviathan itself could take control over the thing. Just think about it. Taking over the minds of those Vorcha. So we are looking for intelligent Vorcha. Because it's actually quite interesting that the problem is that Vorchas cannot be, well, taught or trained or whatever. Yeah, there's actually a difference between teaching and training. A dog gets trained and the person gets taught, gets teached. This is the difference. So there's probably somewhere over here a broken fuel station. There always is. Maybe there's one close to Namakli also. Maybe not. I was hoping for a broken fuel station. Either this or there's something on the planet. I'm looking for a blip. There's no blip. That's not good. Okay, there's no blip. Maybe there's a blip a little bit further out. Okay, there is no blip. That means I have to... Oh! There.
Signal confirmed.
Okay, so now we got everything, I believe. Perfect. An arid but habitable planet. Let's start scanning the thing. Still not there yet. Still not there yet. There. Weird, weird, weird. What do we got? Search successful. Scans have located a close grouping of environmentally shielded habitats and an active power source. Closer examination is required to confirm dig site presence.
We have located Anne Bryson's dig site.
Wonderful. But we're not going to land there this episode. We're going to land there in the next one. And that means, for now, we're also going to read a little bit in the Codex, or let read in the Codex, a little bit about technology. Why not?
Biotics is the Medi-Gel is a common medicinal salve used by paramedics, EMTs, and military personnel. It combines several useful applications: a local anesthetic, disinfectant, and clotting agent all in one. Once applied, the gel is designed to grip tight to flesh until subjected to a frequency of ultrasound. It is sealable against liquids, most notably blood, as well as contaminants and gases. The gel is a genetically engineered bioplasm created by the CERTA Foundation, a medical technology megacorp based on Earth. Technically, Medi-Gel violates Council laws against genetic engineering, but so far it has proved far too useful to ban. Omni Tools are handheld devices that combine a computer microframe, sensor analysis pack, and manufacturing fabricator. Versatile and reliable, an Omni Tool can be used to analyze and adjust the functionality of most standard equipment, including weapons and armor, from a distance. The fabrication module can rapidly assemble small three-dimensional objects from common reusable industrial plastics, ceramics, and light alloys. This allows for field repairs and modifications to most standard items, as well as the reuse of salvaged equipment. Omni Tools are standard issue for soldiers and first-in colonists.
The interesting thing about the Omni Tool is that every time you see this thing, or like if you think someone is using the Omni Tool, they're interacting with this light, shining thingamajig, crystalline thing. And maybe the real Omni Tool, like this could be the Omni Tool, like the object that's displayed over here. It could also just be a hologram. But what if the Omni Tool itself is something that gets made as well by an even smaller device that is carried like on your hand, like a bracelet or something. Then you just activate it. It generates a bigger machine, right? The real Omni Tool, or the actual Omni Tool that you can see once you activate it. And then you can do all following interactions, like the whole, what was the thing, like assemble, manufacturing, whatever, on that device, right? So it's basically a thing on a thing. That could be the Omni Tool. So that's actually a very interesting thing. Like the tech armor, right? The tech armor also looks like that, but the tech armor is also being generated on the fly. So the Omni Tool is generated as well, and the real Omni Tool is the thing that generates the thing. It's like how would you call that? What's the real Omni Tool? How could you consider that? Like a thing and a thing that produces a thing, like a factory that makes cars, right? And the Omni Tool in this case would be the car, and you can do things with a car, but the factory that makes the car is even smaller, or like in this case it would be even bigger, but it makes the car, and then you just activate the thing on the fly if you need a car, right? And then you use the car and you just discard it. You stop using it. But in this case, the concept would be very interesting. It's like pressing a button and the computer appears, right? But the thing that you activate at first is not the real computer. Not really. That's like a thing in a box. Yeah, a thing in a box. Like a zip file. Right. Anyway, Genophage.
The Genophage bioweapon was created to end the Krogan rebellions. The Turians fought the Krogan to a standstill, but the sheer weight of Krogan numbers indicated they could not be stopped through conventional means. The Turians collaborated with the Solarians to engineer a genetic counter to the Krogan's rapid breeding. The Genophage virus replicated by eating key genetic sequences, altering every cell of Krogan physiology, so the Krogan could not use gene therapy to fix the affected tissues. Once a Genophage strain could replicate no more, it would starve and die, limiting mutation and contamination. In addition, the created genetic flaw is hereditary. The resulting mutation made only 1 in 1,000 Krogan pregnancies carry to term, reducing offspring viability rather than fertility. Krogan warlords fought battles over the females able to carry children to term. The release of the Genophage is still controversial and bitterly debated in many circles.
The interesting thing is that all of this technology exists. It's called CRISPR-Cas. It's basically just a way to identify stuff in your DNA or whatever, or like any protein, and then you can attach whatever other thing is there onto the thing. And in this case, what you would attach onto it is just another part of genes, or you could just snip it out. It's the same thing, essentially. And if you put like CRISPR-Cas in a self-replicating virus and put it into like a living organism, it gets affected completely. You just have to put it somehow in the bloodstream, and through the bloodstream it gets everywhere. And it would actually be really, really good. Like, how do you get it into the bloodstream? Through the lungs. So you breathe it in and you get affected immediately. And there's no way you can actually do something against it. Because everything in your organism has to be supplied by the bloodstream. There's nothing in there that doesn't get supplied. There's the key behind it. Once you get into the blood, you get everywhere. Except for the brain. I think there's like blood-brain barrier that kind of would be there to stop it. So that's the only thing that may be safe. Maybe. Or maybe not. But anyway. So, much so for technology. Like and subscribe, of course, as usual. And ta-ta.